Today on the John Ankerburg Show, do Roman Catholics and Evangelical Protestants now agree? Catholics and Protestants have increasingly found themselves working together in protesting against abortion, fighting pornography, and guarding against the loss of religious freedoms in the courts. And now, some of Evangelical Christianity's most highly respected leaders have linked hands with Roman Catholic leaders in signing an accord calling for full identification of Catholics and Evangelicals as brothers and sisters in Christ, and are uniting together in evangelism, missions, and in defending the Christian worldview. But is all of this possible biblically? My guests today who will answer these questions are Dr. D. James Kennedy, Senior Minister of Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church, Dr. John MacArthur, Pastor of the Grace Community Church, and Dr. R.C. Sproul, Chairman of Ligonier Ministries and Professor of Systematic Theology at Reformed Theological Seminary. Certain statements in the Evangelicals and Catholic Together document have become divisive and raised genuine concerns over whether it clearly represents what evangelicals believe. Today you will hear about a private meeting where evangelical leaders met to discuss these issues. At that meeting, our fellow evangelicals who signed the ECT document were not willing to withdraw their names from it nor revise it, but they were willing to write a brief statement of clarification. What was clarified? And can it be said that Roman Catholics and Evangelical Protestants now agree? We invite you to join us. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to our program. We're here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in the beautiful Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church. My guests are Dr. D. James Kennedy, who is the pastor of this wonderful church, and the well-known, popular Dr. John MacArthur and Dr. R.C. Sproul. Our program today is about a document that is called The Evangelicals and Catholics Together, the Christian Mission in the Third Millennium. We're also going to be talking about a new clarifying doctrinal statement that was just written by the evangelical signees of this document. The ECT, the Evangelicals and Catholic Together document, as we call it, was written by 20 well-known evangelical leaders and 20 well-known Roman Catholic leaders. The purpose of this document was stated to be, number one, to provide a statement that would advance Christian fellowship, cooperation, and mutual trust between evangelical Protestants and Roman Catholics. Number two, it was to provide a worldview for Protestants and Catholics to unite on in defense of the truth here in the North American culture wars. That is, these men saw the benefit of Catholics and Protestants standing and fighting together on the critical moral issues of our day. And third, the document was written to establish some basis for civility and mutual respect between Roman Catholics and Protestants in Latin America and some other countries who, because of rivalry, were in conflict over evangelism. Now, I want to make it clear that those who wrote this document said it is not an official document binding Roman Catholics and Protestants together. It is not meant to be precise or theologically comprehensive, and the only authority it has stems from the personal credibility of those who signed it. And apparently its impact has been wide and powerful. For example, it's been reported to have circulated inside the Vatican and been received there with great enthusiasm. One Christian publication said it was a landmark document. Christianity Today and the Christian Coalition have both referred to it as a historic document. The Wall Street Journal, of all places, said this document was the wave of the future. Now, the very fact that many people feel this document is uniting Catholics and Protestants in North America to stand together on social issues, and it is helping stop the conflict in Latin America and other countries, it shows how important and influential this document is. Now, Chuck Colson, who helped draft this document, has acknowledged that it created a lot of controversy and it's raised genuine concern over whether it clearly represents what evangelical Christians believe. And just a few weeks ago, Chuck requested a private meeting with 10 evangelical leaders, including the 4 of us that are here. He expressed his concern over the document and the confusion that it's caused, as well as its lack of clarity concerning what evangelicals believe. And he said that he wanted to resolve and remove any contentious issues so that there would no longer be any doubt as to where he and the other Protestant signees stood. To this end, together, we all composed a statement that clarifies and clearly defines our evangelical beliefs. Not all of them, but some primary ones. And to begin, I'd like to come to you, Dr. R.C. Sproul. When we all got together, we were concerned about the statements in the Evangelicals and Catholics Together document that seemed to give an unwarranted stamp of legitimacy to Roman Catholic doctrine. For example, the ECT document implies that evangelicals and Roman Catholics should and can be united on the basis of their being able to affirm this statement, that we are justified by grace through faith because of Christ. Now, we all agreed this statement still needed to be clarified. Some may wonder, what in the world's wrong with that phrase? All Roman Catholics will say that they accept and believe these words. But we know that if you add the word alone to this sentence, so that it reads this way, we are justified by grace alone, through faith alone, because of Christ alone, the Roman Catholic friend that you're saying this to will back away from it and he won't accept it. RC, why is that one little word, sola, the Latin word sola, alone, that's missing in the ECT document? Why is this so important to us? And then please explain why we did place it in the new clarifying doctrinal statement.
Well, John, as you will certainly remember, when we had our private discussions behind closed doors with Chuck and Jim Packer and Bill Bright and the other signatories there, I made the comment at the time that that word alone, which is so conspicuously absent from ECT, has emerged as something of a shibboleth in church history, not in the pejorative sense, in the negative sense, but in the positive sense of a shibboleth, that this is a watershed statement that separates people on what they really believe. Now, to get to the heart of that, let me jump down the funnel to the bottom line of the controversy historically between the Roman Catholic Church and evangelicals that provoked the Reformation. In ways, I try to say this in a way that my mother, God bless her, if she were still alive, would be able to understand it, and I hope she understands it now far more clearly than I do in her felicity in heaven. But in any case, if my mother were here, I would say, Mom, here's my problem. God is just, God is righteous, and I'm not. How can I possibly survive a tribunal before a just and holy God, since I know that that God requires and demands perfect righteousness for him to justify anyone? And so the issue in the 16th century was not whether God demands righteousness in order for him to declare somebody just, but the issue is, where do we get that righteousness? The Protestant view was this, that the only righteousness that has the merit necessary to meet the requirements of the holiness of God is that righteousness that was achieved and performed by Jesus Christ and by Jesus Christ alone. There's where the word alone comes in, John, because all Protestants have acknowledged historically that the phrase justification by faith alone really means, it's shorthand for justification by the righteousness of Christ alone. That only his righteousness is sufficient to save us. The Roman Catholic Church said that the only way God will ever declare me righteous or you righteous or anybody else righteous is if they have a righteousness that inheres within them. an intrinsic righteousness, a righteousness that really belongs to John Ankerburg. They would say that you can't be righteous, John, apart from the help of Christ and the grace of Christ and the infusion of his power and so on, with which you must assent and cooperate, assentare, cooperare is the language they use. And so you can't be saved without the help of Christ or without grace or without faith. But added to that faith, added to that grace, added to that Christ must be the contribution of John Ankerburg, without which God will not declare you just. Now that's all the difference in the world. And the word alone is trying to draw a line in the sand and say that the gospel of Jesus Christ says that the only way a person can be saved is by the righteousness of Christ imputed to us by faith.